Welcome back to Next Gen Console Watch, our show following all the latest gaming hardware. I'm Damon Hadfield. This week I'm joined by Max Scoville, host of Podcast Beyond. From Podcast Unlocked is Ryan McCaffrey, and from Nintendo Voice Chat is Logan Plant. And all three of our platforms have held their big summer showcases. They've laid out their plans for the rest of the year and into 2027. So it's time to survey the results. Who had the best showcase? Who has the best game lineup? I also want to address the elephant in the room for each platform. So let's get into it. Max, the PlayStation State of Play was first, so let's start there. Thought it was a pretty strong showing this year. It was bookended by Wolverine and God of War Laufey, and we got a lot in between, like Phantom Blade Zero, Until Dawn 2, Silent Hill Townfall, and more. So how would you rate, or how would you grade this State of Play?
I think it was maybe a B+. I feel like on its own it was good. The thing that I think is a little weird is that it didn't do much for Sony exclusives. We got a couple. We got Until Dawn 2. We got God of War Laufey. We got Wolverine. That's good. But as far as the future goes, I think the awkward thing is that we got a couple former, PlayStation console exclusive franchises sort of jump ship. We got the big reveal of Final Fantasy VII Revelation over on Summer Game Fest, and we got Kingdom Hearts 4 over on Nintendo Direct, which we can talk about in a second with on Logan's turn. But those are two franchises that historically have kind of buddied up with Sony, and I feel like Sony's announcements on their own were pretty cool, but as far as like stuff you can only get on PlayStation, that felt more like Square Enix going, hey, we're not only on PlayStation anymore. We're kind of moving elsewhere. So I guess in a vacuum, Sony did okay. I was all right with it, but sort of once the dust settled, I was kind of like, hey, wait a minute, what's going on here? A lot of this stuff is cross-platform, which has been kind of the running theme. And yeah, we got a few reveals, but I wasn't particularly blown away. I feel like Wolverine is impressive, but also I don't know. It's kind of like I'm already sold on it. I was like, oh, this is what I hope to see. Laufey was a cool surprise, but I'm already exhausted by the discourse around it. And yeah, I don't know. Again, the fact that they showed off that much of a playable thing without any hint of a release window is, I don't know, not the most. It doesn't give me the most optimism for what's planned for next year. It'd be nice to get kind of at the very least like, hey, this is coming soon. But we just, last December we got to look at Intergalactic from Naughty Dog and still no word on what's going on there. I think there's that sweet spot between announcing something, 8 years ahead of time and not having anything to go on 8 years later, like something Ryan's sure to bring up. But yeah, I think there's that sweet spot between, hey, here's this thing, it's out this fall, and hey, here's this thing, release date TBD ?
Yeah, it's like the narrative about PlayStation this generation has been that its release pipeline is kind of dried up. It's not putting out as many first-party games. And would you say that this latest State of Play doesn't do much to change that?
Yeah, kind of. We'd heard so many rumors about Sony Santa Monica's thing, and Wolverine is a known quantity. Until Dawn was a nice surprise, but again, that doesn't quite feel like it's on the same scale as when we talk about most of their first party stuff. And again, that's not from Supermassive, the original studio. They've gone and done the whole Dark Pictures thing. This is from, I forget the studio's name, but they mostly
do like VR stuff, I think.
Yeah. They've done a lot of support stuff. They did, I think Astro's Playroom. They did some smaller VR things, but they don't really, they haven't really, shipped any major stuff to give people an idea of what to expect from them. It looks cool. But again, it's like Until Dawn is, it's campy B-movie horror, which is a weird thing to make quadruple A video games about.
Ryan, we'll get into Xbox in just a sec, but what did you think about the State of Play?
Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it, but to Max's point, I feel like Xbox has been the platform that's been maligned for not having first-party games for years and years. Now, that was true for a very, very long time. But over the last 2 to 3 years, they've really turned that part around. The exclusivity conversation is another piece of it, which we can get into because now they seem to be pivoting back to exclusives. But in the Xbox showcase, I counted a minimum of 6 first-party reveals, whether it was just new gameplay release dates, but there was a lot of first-party representation, is my point, in the Xbox showcase. And with PlayStation, it was basically just the bookends. As Max mentioned, there are 2 heavy hitters, one for this year, one for, I presume, next year with God of War. But yeah, so I definitely enjoyed it. I'm there for the awesome first party stuff when it does come around. But yeah, I wonder when PlayStation fans will start to go, wait a second, where are all the first party games that we bought this thing for?
Logan, how would you grade the PlayStation State of Play?
Yeah, I think I'm aligned with these guys. I think it's somewhere in the B range. I think it's interesting. When I look across all the showcases this summer, I feel like there was a lot of really cool announcements, but no like singular platform really stands out to me. And I think the State of Play exemplifies that. It's like, oh, there's a lot of cool stuff coming everywhere. But then from the first party studio front, I'm not that hot on Wolverine. I didn't really love the look that we got at it. I thought I look at that game and I know exactly what it's going to feel like. It's going to feel like Spider-Man, but bloodier. And it just did not super stand out to me. And then I thought God of War looked really cool. I agree with Max. No date or no window or anything was really surprising after seeing over 20 minutes of it. So I thought it was fine. It just did not blow me away.
Got it. All right, Ryan, the Xbox Showcase. Lots of stuff this year. A very important year for Xbox. Of course, we got to see Gears of War E-Day and learn that it is a console exclusive. Got to see more of Halo Campaign Evolved, new levels coming to that. Got to see DMZ and Modern Warfare 4. Clockwork Revolution is also an exclusive. There are a couple of Personas. So what do you think of the showcase this year?
I'm kind of between a B plus and an A minus. Last year, on our live post show with Unlocked, I called it the best showcase they'd ever done, and I would stand by that a year later. They just blew everything away last year. And this year, I kind of figured it wasn't quite going to be on that same level because really Microsoft has shown much of their hand. Like we kind of know a lot of what they've got coming up. Now, to their credit, they delivered a lot of release dates in this year's showcase. And so I think I would give them the benefit of the doubt and say it's an A minus, and I'll go through why. Because I wrote down, out of everything in there, there's kind of a top 10. I mean, we had gameplay and concrete release dates for Gears of War E-Day, Fable, and Halo Campaign Evolved. That's significant. So it's like that. Those are all set in stone. Those are happening. Halo is definitely coming out next month. Gears is definitely coming out on October 6th. And Fable is definitely, now that it's avoiding Grand Theft Auto 6, coming out in February after, in fairness, it had been delayed a couple times before that. You mentioned Clockwork Revolution, getting some more gameplay and a 2027 window for that, and that's an exclusive. The Senua reveal, aka don't call it Hellblade 3, and this one looks, it seemed like they're trying to make it clear from the jump on Senua that they're directly addressing the lack of gameplay criticism from Hellblade 2 by showing that trailer was like mostly combat. So that's cool. Persona 6 as a big reveal. Sure, multi-platform game, but awesome to have that on Xbox's stage. Another third party, but looks super cool. This was one of my favorite new game reveals from the past week on any of the showcases, was Magicians: The Devil's Deal, the first-person shooter with magician powers, and it definitely kind of had a Dishonored sort of art style to it. That looked great. Spyro's back from Toys for Bob, a really talented developer who had spun out of Microsoft after the acquisition of them through Activision, but they remained in partnership and they're doing Spyro. That's cool. Crazy Taxi, I'll admit, I had pretty low expectations when they announced it because, it was announced alongside all these other IP revivals that Sega's doing. And so I kind of thought, if they're just doing a bunch of these old IPs, they're probably going to be lower budget, not super great. And it remains to be seen on Crazy Taxi, but it looked better than maybe I just had low expectations, but I thought that looked pretty good. Bad Magpie and Vivarium were two super interesting indie reveals. And then, like, as a little cherry on top for me as an old guy, the Translucent Green 25th anniversary console and controller were super cool. So I thought it was an excellent showcase, not as, not best ever like last year, but they had a ton of really great stuff and didn't just announce games. They gave us concrete release dates for, several of their heavy hitters and gave us 2027 windows for a lot of stuff to look forward to for next year.
Yeah, Xbox has kind of the opposite problem of PlayStation. Xbox has a lot of games, but it's having a hard time selling consoles. So do you think anything in this showcase looks like it could sell Xbox hardware?
Well, they're certainly hoping that Gears of War E-Day will do that, and whether it can remains to be seen. The original Gears of War in 2006, exactly 20 years ago, this is the 20th anniversary, that sold a lot of 360s. So can Gears of War E-Day convince either people who haven't upgraded to this generation yet because of how damn expensive it is to finally jump in with Grand Theft Auto 6 looming and choose Xbox? I don't know. I mean, Gears of War has always been a great series. I think the Coalition, who's handled Gears 4 and 5, have done a tremendous job with the IP. But yeah, I mean, it's probably going to take more than just Gears of War E-Day to sway people. So that remains to be seen. But I got to imagine that Xbox it's like a very, very large cargo ship where you can't turn it on a dime.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to take a while before we start seeing more and more and more exclusives and for that to become the norm again rather than the exception, which it is today.
Max, what did you think of the Xbox showcase?
I thought it was really good. I thought it was a really cool victory lap for Xbox. Like it genuinely felt like a 25th anniversary celebration. The translucent console, I think, is fantastic. I love that thing. And it really is cool to see them carting out kind of the big flagship IP. Like I've never really been a Halo or Gears guy. Otherwise, it probably would have done a lot more for me. But having them, I mean, even Crazy Taxi had I think the last one was on the original 360 or original Xbox.
The original Xbox, yeah.
And I mean, we're hearing rumors about a Jet Set game kicking around, so maybe we'll get that too. But I was kind of, I thought it was a good mix of, again, kind of legacy Xbox IP and a few third-party things. And I want to play that Magpie game very badly. Yeah, I don't know. I give it. I think slightly up from Sony, maybe like maybe an A-. I don't know, but they're very close in different ways. They're almost leaning in different directions. Honestly, it's kind of, I sort of wish that Sony was doing similar stuff. Like it genuinely felt like they were looking at their back catalog and being like, what do people like about this brand? Let's bring that out here. And the fact that it was so stacked with release dates was really cool. It's nice to actually have a concrete idea of when we're going to be playing these games. And yeah, I mean, I had a good variety, and maybe not quite as explosive as previous years, but a solid showing nonetheless.
I want to add real quick, Damon, just tugging at my heartstrings as somebody that had the pleasure and privilege of starting their career 10 years at Official Xbox Magazine. I love that the translucent green 25th anniversary console reveal had a stack of Official Xbox Magazine issues there, so that hit me right in the feels.
That is great. I missed that. That's great. Logan, were you as positive on Xbox as Ryan and Max were?
Yeah, I really liked it. I'm a huge Halo fan. I will play the Halo original campaign whenever they release it, so I'm excited for that. And then Crazy Taxi is one of my favorite games from the GameCube era, so I'm really excited that series is coming back. Spyro's an awesome revival. And then no one's mentioned it yet, I don't think, Fable. Every time we see that game, I'm like, that's going to be the best game that comes out next year. I think it looks really, really awesome.
Well, of course, there's also the Nintendo Direct, which is just yesterday now. Of course, we finally got that Ocarina of Time remake confirmed. Got a release date for Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. What did you... Oh, sorry, also really cool stuff. Lots of cool JRPGs if you're a fan of JRPGs. Yeah. I really like the new HD 2D Final Fantasy Resonance. That looks cool. So how would you grade the latest Nintendo Direct?
Yeah, I think that you have to grade it from two ways, and one is if you're only a Switch 2 owner, what a show, great show, like an A-, and if you have other consoles, like a B- or C+, like it's very different because third party really dominated this show, and we saw so many ports of really awesome games that are coming to a Nintendo platform. And for me, as somebody who started covering Nintendo in the Wii U era and then through the Switch and now Switch 2, it's still crazy to me to see stuff like Lies of P or Devil May Cry 5 just coming to a Nintendo platform. That's really cool. I've played those games. I know all of us have played those games elsewhere, but if you only have a Switch 2, that's fantastic news. The first party front, I think that, man, that Ocarina of Time leak took a lot of wind out of the sails of that reveal, and I think that is a big disappointment. I'm very excited for it. I still really liked the trailer, and I can't wait to see more. Would have been really nice if we had not really known about that going in. Otherwise, Xenoblade Genesis, that's a big reveal for that franchise that grows and grows with every single entry. Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave looks like Three Houses 2. People love that game. It sold extremely well. That's a cool reveal. Nintendo Switch Sports Resort, sure. Switch Sports sold like 14 million copies on Switch 1, so run it back. It just, I think Ocarina of Time was supposed to be that big knockout blow, but we all saw it coming a mile away. So it was fine. I was not blown away, but I didn't think it was a bad show.
Do you think it was a mistake not to show more of Ocarina of Time since it's supposed to be out later this year?
That's really hard, because had this not leaked, I think that it's the perfect reveal for it, because we can all talk about what level of reimagining is this going to be, and what's a Goron going to look like in this crazy art style that they're going with, and all these things that we can kind of speculate on. But I think just going in knowing that it was going to be there, we all felt like that's it. Like we were hoping this would be the reveal party for it. So you can ask, should Nintendo have pivoted once this information got out there? But I mean, I feel like this is a global company. This stuff's probably set for a very long time. It's got to be very hard to pivot once something is leaked. So I don't know. I think that it's not like you can pre-order it right now or anything. So it's not like they're asking people to buy it. This was just like hey, stay tuned. We'll show you more. So I would have liked to see more, but I don't necessarily think it was a mistake not to show more.
So we got Star Fox coming up, and then Fire Emblem and Ocarina of Time, and then just a ton of third-party stuff coming up for Switch 2. Switch 2 had a very successful first year, but we have a price hike coming up. Do you think the current lineup is enough to keep the momentum going and sustain the sales at a healthy pace?
Yeah, I think Ocarina of Time, once we actually see that thing, nobody's going to worry. I think we'll see it in September. That's after the price hike hits. Look at the views that trailer is doing online right now. It's crazy. It's probably going to end up being in the top 3 or maybe the most watched trailer of any game from this thing. That's going to be a juggernaut for them, and that will be a system seller. Yeah, it's a remake, but it's a remake of is a top 5 most iconic game of all time. Is that fair?
Yeah,
maybe higher.
Easily. Yeah, easily.
Yeah, like it's going to be enormous. And then I look at this as I look at the Japan market, where the Switch 2 price hike has already taken effect. And if you love RPGs and JRPGs, this was an amazing show. Xenoblade, Final Fantasy, like we're getting Final Fantasy VII Revelation on launch day next year. I think that this Direct was maybe geared more towards the Japan audience that already has to deal with that higher price, and the September Direct may be more geared towards us. And also Nintendo they're doing this now where they aren't doing the thing where it's, here's 20 minutes of God of War, goodbye, you have no idea when it's coming out. When they show a game, they glue a release window onto it, and they're really only showing us stuff 6 months out. It's very rare we see something like a Xenoblade that's coming out next year. So that's their new strategy. I think it leaves us wanting a little bit to see what's a little further down the road, but that's just not how they're doing it anymore.
All right, Max, how would you grade this week's Nintendo Direct?
Yeah, I think Logan nailed it. It really depends on whether or not you've been playing other platforms, but I will say that Ocarina is definitely a heavy hitter. There's talk about, GTA is the big behemoth that it is, and I think if there's a game coming out this year that can actually stand, maybe not toe to toe, but put up a fight, I think Ocarina is a very, very strong contender, just in the basis that, like, this is, if let's say you're someone's grandma or whatever, and you're looking at the brand new video games and the brand new consoles, and you've got 2 boxes that can play this M-rated car stealing game, which everyone's going to buy, or you can get this other console that has one of the best games ever, remade, retooled. I don't know, like it's sort of a known quantity, but not. I do wish they'd shown more of it, but I also think it's really cool that Nintendo is able to keep these things so close to the chest until it's so close to release, because that doesn't, kill anticipation. That doesn't kill hype. We did the Daily Fix today talking about another non-update about the state of the Elder Scrolls 6 and how they're going to talk about it when it's ready. They announced that in 2018.
Yeah.
And we don't have anything to go on. And it's like, you look at how Skyrim was revealed. It was less than a year before it launched. They were like, here's a release date in December. It's coming out in November. The fact that Nintendo's coming out with like, hey, surprise, 2026. Again, the leak kind of took some of the fun out of it, but it's still really cool to see. And I think that one game on its own is packs quite a lot of punch. And yeah, again, it's also kind of being like, does anyone here like Kingdom Hearts or Final Fantasy? Mm-hmm. Because we got those too, and Resident Evil and Devil May Cry. Like I mean, the Switch was always sort of in its own weird little category compared to either generation of PlayStation or Xbox. But the Switch 2 really feels like it's up to speed with this generation, and yeah, it's doing great, and it's cool to see Nintendo support it as well as they do. I would say Nintendo had the best showing of the 3.
Well, Ryan, we did not get that 3D Mario we've been waiting for, you and I both. But what did you think about the Nintendo Direct?
probably a B minus for me. It really my big takeaway was that Square stole the show between Final Fantasy Resonance, a turn-based HD 2D Final Fantasy game. Sure, it's multi-platform, but it debuted on Nintendo's stage. I mean, I'm a huge sucker for HD 2D. It is my favorite new visual style of I don't know how the last many years. It's such a clever, beautiful thing for those of us that grew up in the 8 and or 16-bit era. So that was a really cool reveal. And then, I mean, Kingdom Hearts 4, everybody's been waiting to see anything from that for eons now. And for that to debut on Nintendo's stage is super cool. I certainly agree with my colleagues that the Ocarina of Time remake, that would have melted the internet. That would have been the only thing everybody was talking about from this entire past week of all the showcases if it had been a surprise. And so it is a little bit of a shame that the cat was let out of the bag pretty early on that. But as such, I have to agree with Logan. I think they should have shown more as a result of that leak from a while ago. I mean, I don't know how Nintendo specifically works, and I know that they can very much march to the beat of their own drum, but I know for a fact that some of these other showcases that they definitely get adjusted and tweaked and changed right up to the last minute. So I have to imagine now you can't just conjure a polished gameplay trailer out of thin air, but Nintendo did have time here from when this leak had initially occurred. So still some mystery left to be solved there, certainly including the release date. But yeah, I mean, still fascinated to see exactly. I mean, I hope the remake lives up to the game. Meaning, I hope it's not just like a quick and dirty, low budget, not super great looking remake. I hope it's as awesome as Ocarina deserves to be. So that remains to be seen. But yeah, it's not a lot for me personally, given that I've got these other two platforms that are also giving me a ton of games.
Do you guys think that the discourse around Zelda would have been bigger and louder had they shown more? Or do you think the fact that it is such a short and sweet teaser has got so many people kind of wondering what it is and speculating back and forth?
What do you think, Logan?
Yeah, I think that it's the second one. I think it's absolutely about the speculation. And I think with Zelda, we only get to do this every so often. It's only like every 5, 6, or 7 years we see a new art style for a 3D Zelda game. And I think that a lot of people freak out about it. A lot of people like it. I think it's fun. I'm happy. They usually do it when the game's 3 or 4 years out, not 3 or 4 months out. So Nintendo's like speedrunning a traditional 3D Zelda hype cycle in the span of 6 months. But I think that's great. Like, I think that's a cool thing that we're existing in this moment of uncertainty right now where we have one piece of the puzzle. We know what young Link looks like, and that's it. I think that's a really fun spot to be in, and I think that the internet agrees.
Agreed.
Well, regardless of what platform you play on, there's lots of fun stuff coming for PlayStation and Xbox and Nintendo for the rest of this year and into 2027. We want to know, thinking about all of the showcases over the past week, what do you think was the biggest surprise from the summer showcases? Kingdom Hearts 4, maybe God of War Laufe, maybe Resident Evil Veronica. Make sure to vote at IGN.com or on Spotify the day this episode goes live, and we'll share the results with you next episode. And that's our show. Thank you to Max, Ryan, and Logan. Thank you to Nick working behind the scenes to make this episode possible. My name is Damon. We'll be back next week with more of the latest gaming hardware news. We'll see you then.